Greetings, and welcome to another edition of the Verbally Effective Podcast. I'm your host, Ina Esco, the double E. And as you can see, we are inside my podcast studio here at the historic Cosset Library. And you know, Verbally Effective is all about the intersections of art, culture, politics, entertainment with a Memphis focus. And today I have a young man that is one of the most creative photojournalists that I've ever seen. I am talking about the Delvin Young, aka Mercy, because we got to stick that brand up in there as well. Definitely. I mentioned he's a photographer, a photojournalist, a creative director. Welcome, Delvin. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Yes. I'm glad you're sitting inside the studio today. What you don't know is this is the first time that we filmed Verbally Effective inside the podcast studio here at Cosset.
I'm the first guest.
Yes,
wow.
You are.
Wow.
You are. And
I'm
I want
honored.
to, yes. I want to send a big shout out to my girl, Shay Harris, behind the lens today.
Definitely.
Because she does great work as well.
Shout out to Shay.
Shout out to Shay, man. Big shout outs to my good partner. Everybody that's a part of the podcast here at Cosset, I appreciate it. We're doing some great things with the residency as the innovator in residence here at Cosset. We do podcast programming. We've done a big podcast festival, and now we are recording our episodes here. So shout outs to my boy Marlon as well for keeping me motivated.
Shout out to Marlon.
Shout outs to Marlon. But let's jump into Delvin Young. Who is Delvin Young? Who is this amazing photographer behind the lens? Let's start at the beginning, Delvin.
Yes.
Okay, so where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. Kind of migrated pretty soon after to Memphis, Tennessee, and also spent a lot of time in California. So kind of pretty.
Okay.
Traveled pretty far and about.
And guess what? I was born in San Antonio, Texas.
Wow.
I am originally from Beaumont, Texas. Beaumont, Texas. Have you ever heard of Beaumont?
I just recently became a little familiar with Beaumont, Texas by way of Tizo Touchdown, the new artist.
Mm-hmm.
I hear he's from there. He's been shining a little light
Really?
in the Beaumont, Texas area. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's been kind of like put on the map by Drake and Kanye, a couple artists like that. He's pretty talented.
A lot of hot talent out of Beaumont, Texas.
I'm looking at some hot talent out of
Yes.
Beaumont, Texas right now. So,
I appreciate that.
definitely.
So you were born in Dallas. What made you move to Memphis?
Well, my family, my mom's side of the family is originally from Memphis. I don't really have an idea of what prompted her to go to Dallas and how I was born there. But I guess she had some friends or relatives there. So I mean, that's how that happened. But kind of went back to Memphis and spent a lot of time there. Was raised there. So.
Okay. And did you grow up with your mom and dad?
I grew up with my mom and mostly my grandmother. But yeah, those two mainly.
Okay. So how was it growing up with your grandmother?
It was pretty cool, man. She taught me a lot of great things. I looked at my grandmother as a very, very important person in my life. She was there for a lot of my biggest moments, a lot of my saddest moments. She taught me how to have respect for people, for things. She taught me the importance of education and just being a good person and a good kid. It was fun. Yes.
And what school did you go to in Memphis?
I remember going to Spring Hill Elementary. I remember going to Delano Optional School. I remember going to Coleman Elementary. I remember going to Raleigh-Egypt High School also.
How was them Pharaohs back in the day, Delvin?
Man, the Pharaohs. Shout out to Raleigh-Egypt and the Pharaohs.
Shout out to Raleigh-Egypt.
Yeah, it wouldn't be right if I didn't give a shout out to my alma mater, my high school. I spent some time there. It was pretty fun. I played sports. I played basketball my freshman and sophomore year.
Were you hooping?
I was pretty good. You had to be pretty good to make a Raleigh-Egypt team back in that time. And
who was the coach?
Jimmy Adams. Coach Adams
Okay.
was a coach. Coach Barnes, he was a coach also. So we always had a pretty great team. We went to nationals in Nashville. I think we were runner up. to Bolivar one year. I think it was '06, '07. But yeah, we were always pretty good in basketball. We're kind of known for being like a stylish school. A lot of kids dress pretty nice, so it was kind of mainly known for that. But I
Okay.
enjoyed my experience there.
Okay. And what were you into other than sports around that time?
Man, dressing nice and girls, honestly.
Okay,
To be
I
honest,
got
I
you.
was into like looking the part, dressing nice, man, and
Because you're dressed very stylish today, and
thank
everything
you.
that I
I
see from you on
appreciate it.
social media, you have some nice style. So
Thank you.
you've
I
always
appreciate it.
had that.
I would like to think so.
And who did you get it from?
Just from what I saw around from where I grew up and what I always saw on TV. Style was just kind of a big thing to me. I felt like if you looked the part, what do you understand to say? I mean, if you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good, and you play good, they pay good. So that's kind of something I've
Okay.
always lived by. So
Okay.
I mean, I feel good when I put on clothes. So
Yes, sir. So when you graduated from Raleigh-Egypt, what was Delvin Young into after graduating high school?
um, after graduating high school, I was still playing basketball, so I was really into that. But I was kind of leaving basketball alone once I found that I wasn't going to really be just pursuing it long time, and it was just kind of in the period of my grandmother passing. So this was kind of a point in my life where I was kind of figuring things out. I was kind of
Yeah.
trying to find my way as far as what I wanted to do for a living and as far as career wise. And I had just had a kid also. I just had my daughter also. So I was kind of figuring things out. What I do know and what I've always known is I wanted to be famous. I wanted to
Why
be
is
rich and
that,
famous.
Delvin?
I can remember as long as I was able to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to be on TV one day. I got to be famous. People got to know who I am. People got to know my name. I got to be really good at something. I just always wanted to make it. I wanted to be somebody that my family could be proud of and my future kids could look up to.
Okay, so you were a new dad immediately,
Immediately.
graduating from high school. How was that experience?
That was a life.
Because you were, what, 18?
Yeah, 17 actually. Yeah,
Okay.
that was like a life-changing experience, man. I didn't really have a lot of parents around. My mother, she was going through some problems with drug addiction, and like I said, I lost my grandmother at an early age. My dad wasn't really around, so I didn't really have a lot of parental guidance. I kind of had the guidance of a little bit of my older brother, and a lot of my older friends were pretty much guiding me. And as you know, friends, they weren't really the right people to have guiding you. So I kind of made a lot of bad decisions, a lot of mistakes, and that led to me having a kid early. But it became a blessing in disguise because they really gave me the motivation and the drive and determination to really make something out of myself, even at an early age. So that's the way I looked at it.
Yes. Have you always been a very present father?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be the person that sits here and makes it seem like I was always the best dad, because I wasn't. Because I didn't have a dad myself, so I never really knew what having everyday dad looked like. Not even what it was a long time before I even knew what my dad looked like at all. You know what I'm saying? So growing up and being under some unfortunate situations and circumstances caused me to kind of be like a lackluster dad to start out. I would say I was present, but I wasn't just the best dad in my opinion. I could have done better, but I guess I would say the circumstances.
Maybe that quality time. Wasn't
Yeah. I guess I would say the circumstances that I was under as being so young and still trying to figure things out kind of attributed to that. But getting older is where I would say I got a lot better once I started to find my way, figure things out, and the importance of how to be a dad. I understood what actually being a parent meant, and so that helped me out a lot.
So how's your relationship with your daughter now?
Great. She's like my best friend, man. I share a lot of things with her. We're close. We have our moments, where we kind of fight. You know what I'm saying? She's getting a little older now, where she's 14.
How old is she? She's 14.
She's 14 going on 35.
Okay,
You know what
I
I'm
can
saying?
believe it.
She's a Sagittarius. She's sweet as
Ooh,
gold.
a Sag.
Yeah, very smart little girl. I love her a lot. She's taught me a lot. So we have our moments, but I like to think that we're building on a great relationship. She's there. She's been there for a lot of my tough moments and a lot of my good moments, and I've been there for a lot of hers. So, we have a growing relationship and a great relationship, and it's my baby. I love her to death.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I know there was a certain point in your life where you had an accident that changed the trajectory of your life. Talk to us about that.
Man, this accident was kind of something that really kind of happened out of the blue for me. I had moved to California in search of a better life, in search of a career. I wanted to act. I wanted to kind of really put my best foot forward with modeling and just really just try to make something out of myself that I couldn't really get off the ground in Memphis, that I was struggling to make happen in Memphis at the time. And of course, I had family also in California, so that's the reason that prompted the move there. So started out pretty well. I was discovered at my job at Fat Sal's. Shout out to Fat Sal's in Hollywood, California. Really good people over there. They hired me when I had nothing going. But
What kind of company is that, Fat Styles?
it is like a very, very popular sandwich place. It's like a place where you go get food, kind of like that stays open until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But it's very popular because a lot of celebrities are known to walk in at any given moment. Like you may see Justin Bieber walk in one day, or Lakeith Stanfield maybe sitting there eating lunch one day or whatever. So it's pretty popular for that, and a lot of rappers come enjoy it after the clubs and after their LA appearances too. So that's what attracted my attention to it. I felt like if I was in the right place at the right time, maybe I could get discovered. And that's actually what happened. I was at work one day working the register, and this guy, he was ordering food, and he looked at me and he said something to me, and I guess I said something funny back to him, made him laugh, and he got his food, he sat down, he ate his food, and by the time he got ready to leave, he approached me again. And he asked me, he said, have I ever thought about acting and modeling? And I told him that I had a little experience modeling, but never acting. And he kind of like slid me his number, kind of like on a slick little way. And he was like, whenever you get some time, call me. So, I mean, if you're ever familiar with anything going on in LA, you hear a lot of stories about people discovering people, but a lot of times it doesn't fall through, it'd be a little phony. So that's what was my first impression. I was like, this guy isn't for real. I was like, nah, I heard a lot of horror stories. I'm like, nah, he's full of it, whatever like that. So I never called the guy, actually. And so I would say months went by. And I was at my desk one day, living with my brother in Hollywood. Didn't have anything going on. Still working at my job, but I didn't have any success as far as landing any gigs with acting and modeling. So I kid you not, this is how this went. I was bored, didn't have anything to do, sitting at my desk, and I was going through my pockets. And there was a guy's number. So I was like, wow, here's this guy's number. It must mean something. So I said, let me call this guy. Hopefully he remembers who I am. So I call him. He answered the phone. I was like, hey, this is such Delvin. I met you at Fat Sal's, blah, 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 blah. I was like, do you remember who I am? Do you remember me? He was like, yeah, of course I remember you, man. How could I forget? Of course. I was like, thank God. And he was like, man, what are you doing today? I was like, man, I'm off work today. Like what's going on? He was like, well, can you come to my theater over here on Melrose? And I was like, yeah, sure. I had no car at the time, so I had no idea how I was gonna get there. But I told him yes, I could. So I got off the phone with him. I got somebody to get me an Uber there to the theater. At the time, I met with him. He put a script in my hand immediately. As soon as I got there, I joined the theater group that he was already I think practicing with or rehearsing with. So I did pretty good with that my first day. And at the end of the day, he was like, yeah, you're going to be an actor. You should really pursue this. So I started doing theater and dramatic theater, drama theater. I started doing like random gigs in LA. I landed a gig with Perry Ellis, modeling. You started just pretty much getting myself out there in the industry. And months later, just a random day, I woke up. And this is literally how it happened, just the most random injury. Kid you not. Woke up, was dealing with some anxiety problems. So unbeknownst to me, I hadn't really had any kind of knowledge about anxiety or how it works. And so me experiencing an anxiety attack, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know what was going on at the time.
Hardly breathe.
Yeah, it was kind of... It freaked me out. It was scary as hell. I didn't know how to act, what to do. And so I just remember pacing back and forth. So in the middle of me pacing back and forth up and down this hallway, I remember hearing something in my knee and then like my ankle like pop. I just remember hearing like a big pop. Yes, literally. Like I remember just pacing back and forth, and I heard a pop, and I was like, what the hell is that? I didn't know what it was. But me playing sports all my life, I've heard things like that happen, of course, in certain instances, and it's happened to me before. So I kind of brushed it off as like, probably twisted my ankle or something like that. So I didn't really pay any attention to it. Next morning, my leg was so messed up, I couldn't even put my shoe on. So I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty bad. So this kind of developed into me finding out that I had a ruptured Achilles injury.
Oh, wow.
a ruptured Achilles tendon. That developed into an even more exclusive injury. And so I pretty much got information that I wasn't going to be walking within the next 6 to 8 months.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I found out the severity of that injury, and at that time I was like, yeah, I need to go back home. I need a little bit more help. I need to kind of get through this. So that's what prompted the move away from Hollywood back to Memphis. So that kind of pretty much, like you said, changed the trajectory of everything, kind of threw like a wrench in my short acting career.
Man.
And everything. So I pretty much lost everything. I lost all of my money, lost all of my property.
Because you couldn't move.
I couldn't.
You were really idle. Like, you had to heal.
I remember crawling to the restroom when this first happened. Like, I was in so much pain. I remember having tears in my eyes, didn't know why this was happening. But I remember having to crawl in the restroom to prevent from, just having to go, on myself or in the bed. And I remember being in so much pain that I had to literally crawl to the restroom. So when I did that, that's when I was like, yeah, I need to go home. This is pretty serious. I need some help. And I was like, wow. But I didn't understand how an injury that severe could just happen from me just pacing back and forth.
The way it happened.
And me ending up rupturing an Achilles, and that wasn't even the start of the injury. It turned into like a bone deficiency type of thing. So the doctor was telling me that my bone and my muscles weren't even healing properly. So that's what took a 6 to 8 month injury to a 1.5 year type of injury. So I was bedridden actually for a year.
Oh, wow.
And a half. I would say about 17, 18 months. I would say about 6 months in California and the rest of the time here in Memphis.
Well, in the midst of this injury, you discovered a lot about yourself, right?
And then, man, a whole lot about myself.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to take a short break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about how this horrific injury really changed Delvin's world, right?
Definitely.
So we'll be right back with Delvin Young, aka Mercy, on the Verbally Effective Podcast. Hey, I'm Ina Esco, and we're back on the Verbally Effective Podcast right here inside of Cosset Library in the podcast studio. I am your host, your double E, Ina Esco, and I have photographer, creative director, journalist, Delvin Young in the building with me. And we're going to pick up right where we left off, Delvin, with this injury that came out of nowhere, came out of anxiety, and you pacing back and forth, and it changed your life.
Changed my entire life.
Had you down for how long?
1.5 years, actually. About
a year and a half.
About 16 months approximately.
Right when you were beginning your acting career.
Right when I was beginning acting and kind of taking off with that, modeling and everything in California, Hollywood, and definitely, that's kind of how
Were you sad? How was your mental at this point?
Like I said, I had a pretty troubling childhood, so I kind of developed a strong mental capacity just based off of a rough upbringing. So I was a pretty mentally strong person, just of what I've had to go through, But this by far was definitely the most challenging experience of my life. So it kind of threw a wrench into the mental stability that I thought I did have, because it kind of led me to not believing in God, questioning my faith in God, and it kind of led me to questioning just pretty much everything about life and where I stood and how things were going to go.
Okay. And in the midst of all this, what did you discover?
I discovered that God is the one and only, and he's above all. Nothing is let me look to the camera and I say this: nothing is too big for God. Nothing, no obstacle, no injury, no mistake, no problem, nothing. So my faith in God got much stronger. My faith and belief in myself and my abilities got much stronger, and I just became a person that would not be stopped. Would not accept no. Would not accept mediocrity. Would not accept failing. I kind of made my mind up that I was going to beat it, that I was going to come back stronger than ever, and that's kind of how that happened.
Now, during that period, you couldn't move that much, so what did you do? What did you do different?
During that period, I spent a lot of time reading. I love reading. I spent a lot of time reading. I spent a lot of time scrolling Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever I could find the time to do and see. I was pretty much catching up on everything, and I was really watching everybody enjoy living their lives and seeing what people seeing people accomplishing things, seeing all my colleagues and my friends accomplishing things, and just pretty much just going through their lives while I was bedridden for an entire year and just pretty much having to suffer through the pain and just some mental health issues and discovering that I had anxiety and all that. So it was pretty troubling, but that's pretty much all I had the time to do, was just to look at everybody else live their life, spend whatever time I had with my kids and pretty much try to navigate not being able to walk and trying to not let that completely break me while trying to figure out how I can get healthy as soon as possible.
And so was it at this time where you picked up a camera?
It was at this time where I discovered photography, actually. I was scrolling, like I said, Instagram one day, and I just, I can't remember whose page I was on, but I was just on someone's page, and I just thought to myself, like, wow, this is art. This is pretty cool, the way he was documenting himself and others, and just pretty much the way that he saw life and how he was able to pretty much document that and how he was able to express himself through photography. And I never really had an outlet or a chance to express myself before, and I thought that would be a really cool way for me to do it. And I thought that I wouldn't be able to act anymore. I pretty much thought at the time that I wasn't going to be able to run and, jump and do all the things, the cool things that actors do. So I was thinking of another way that I could possibly get my foot into the industry. I wasn't going to let that stop me. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking of another way that I could leave an impact, that I could become a star, that I could become somebody still that people would want to look up to and want to emulate one day.
So you got into this wonderful, amazing world of photography, right?
Yeah, I said, man, if I could ever walk again, I'm going to go buy me a camera and I'm going to see what I could do.
What was the first camera you purchased?
I first purchased a Sony A6400. That was the exact camera I first purchased.
Why that one?
I did a little research. I didn't want to ask anybody any questions. I kind of wanted to really keep things to myself until I was comfortable with what I wanted to do. And once I had my mind made up about how I wanted to go about things, so I kind of did my own little research. And I figured to myself, I said, I want the camera that could do both things well. I wanted to be able to film well. I wanted to be able to take pictures well. And from my research, from what I had just learned, Sony was the brand that did that the best. So that's what kind of led me to getting a Sony A6400 camera first. I planned a little research after. I took that camera back and got another camera. I still was sticking with Sony, but I got a little bit better of a camera once I figured out what I really wanted to do, and that was take pictures.
Okay. And what was that next camera, though?
That next camera was a Sony Alpha 3.
Okay. And I'm asking you, like, I know all the terms for the cameras. I'm learning a little bit, though. But what I do want to know, Delvin, is what was your first photo gig? What was the first thing someone actually paid you to do?
My first photography gig that someone.
And let me say this, though.
Or
let me say this before you answer this, because you take some amazing photos. If you follow Delvin on social media, you'll see his entire portfolio is impeccable.
Thank you.
You have the lighting down. And I'm not a photographer, but I know when I'm looking at a good picture, right?
Yeah.
So as far as your first gig, your first paid gig where somebody said, "Hey, can I book you?"
My first paid gig for celebrity or just any paid gig whatsoever.
Any.
I would say my
because you got to start somewhere.
You do. You got to start somewhere. I would say my first paid gig. I want to give a shout out right now to a very important guy, Memphis Meeks. Do you know who Memphis Meeks is?
Yes, I know Meeks.
Memphis Meeks. Shout out to Memphis Meeks, my boy. Very cool dude. Memphis Meeks, actually, I gotta give him his props on this. He had to be some kind of a smart guy. You know what I'm saying?
He's very smart.
Yeah, but he saw me out one night taking pictures, and I guess he saw some potential. He saw some talent there, or he saw a hardworking guy, or whatever he saw. But he saw me out taking pictures. I had no idea who he was at the time. Like I said, I didn't really go out in Memphis at the time. I had just moved here. And so he saw me, he approached me, he was like, "Hey man, I've been seeing some pictures you've been taking." He was like, "How would you like to do this for me every Wednesday? I throw parties here every Wednesday. It's kind of like an R&B night where we play R&B most of the night for the ladies. And then like the last hour of the night, we kind of transition into like a little hip hop hour, but it's pretty cool. I'm just starting it out. I got a pretty cool DJ helping me out, and we want to bring you on board." And at the time, I didn't really have anything going on. I didn't really have everyday gigs with my camera. I was just learning how to even work the functions on my camera. But that wasn't going to stop me from saying yes. You know what I'm
Right. You
saying?
didn't
So,
divulge that to Meeks, though.
yeah,
You
I
was
didn't
like,
tell him. I was just trying.
Cool.
I was like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. I can do
Yeah.
this for you every week, and I was with it. So shout out to Meeks. He gave me my first opportunity. Besides my cousin in Georgia, but Meeks gave me my first paid every week opportunity.
And how was that experience?
It was fun. I learned a lot about nightlife. I learned a lot about the club scene. I learned a lot about partying and that environment and how to throw some pretty cool parties. And,
Let's talk about that environment because you work well in that environment.
Yeah.
You know, you're taking some of these amazing photos at these events. You know what? I used to be in that environment a lot in my career in radio. I haven't been lately, but what is the nightlife scene looking like now? Give me some behind the scenes, and even as a professional photographer, you know, what does it take to get that good money shot?
Man, the nightlife scene these days, to start off answering your question, is a wild, wild place.
It's the wild, wild place.
It's like the wild, wild west, man.
What?
But I would say it is definitely a vibe, depending on what kind of scene you like. Whether if you like the ratchet scene or if you like the more grown up type of vibe, type of scene. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like pick your poison. But Memphis has a dope party scene right now. We got some pretty cool party promoters. That's pretty
a lot of variety now too. I will say that.
Yeah, a lot of variety. A lot of mixed party things going on, so you can definitely kind of pick your poison with them. But it's a lot of fun things going on. People know how to go out and have a good time. We got a lot of really dope artists in the city producing a lot of great music right now, so that's helping out the club scene. So you know, and we got Memphis has a lot of talented people, a lot of great people here.
Memphis is on the map.
Memphis has been on the map lately. We're doing a really good job with our talent and just bringing a lot of talent in, bringing a lot of outside people in. So you know, the clubs are looking good. We got a lot of great new venues, you know what I'm saying? Like In Love Memphis. Shout out to In Love Memphis. My boy Curtis Givens over there.
Yes, because you work with Curtis.
Definitely work with Curtis. Yeah, he's a great friend of mine. He's helped me a lot with my career. So shout out to him. And he has a great place over there, In Love Memphis. You know, got a couple new ventures he's about to start and announce pretty soon. But it's definitely a great scene right now. A lot of fun things happening. A lot of controversial things happening, but I mean that's all
it's a lot happening here in our good old city of Memphis.
Definitely.
Let's say I'm at Love, right? And you know, I want my picture taken.
Okay.
I mean, even a photographer dealing with that. Do you take everyone's pictures? Like, how you do what you do?
It kind of depends on what I'm hired for. So if I'm hired to do something like of the nightlife sort, I kind of just, you know, whenever I'm in town, I kind of just come through, speak, holler at my friends, you know what I'm saying, kind of enjoy the vibes, maybe have a drink or two, talk to my friends, colleagues or whatever, and I kind of just pick up on the scene of things, pick up on people who are having a good time and how they're feeling, how they're vibing, and I kind of catch the vibe. And that's pretty much how I take pictures throughout the night. I kind of pick up on the emotions of people, the movements of people, how they're enjoying the night, whether they are enjoying it, whether they're not, or whether they're hearing their favorite song or they're doing their favorite dance. I like to photograph kind of moments like that, and those are the moments that I think that kind of pretty much stick out.
Are people like, Mercy, come take my picture?
It didn't start out that way. I would kind of like, it didn't start out that way. I would kind of like just approach people. I would definitely try to catch candid moments. I think candid moments, you're able to see candid moments and you're able to kind of like develop your own story or vibe from seeing a candid photograph. And it's kind of developed into me coming out and people want to do like whole photo shoots in the club, you know what I'm saying, because of the style of pictures that I take. So it's been kind of like, you know, D, Mercy, come take my pictures, or hey, meet me at the club, take some pictures, or I just see people out and they see me and they automatically know what time it is. Like, hey, let's take some great photographs.
So outside of the club scene, you've worked with a lot of different entertainers.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of those.
I would say from I don't want to leave anybody out, from Future, Don Toliver, Mariah the Scientist, Ruby Rose, and
only been taking pictures for 2 years.
Yeah, Fivio Foreign. Man, it's been so many people. A lot of people from Memphis, Glorilla, Hit Kid. A lot of people. It's
Yes.
too hard to name everybody, but a lot of people. I've been blessed.
And is it very lucrative?
Very lucrative. Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
Because you stay on the road too. You're traveling quite a bit.
Yeah, that's the fun part with about doing photography. The camera can take you all over the world. This camera I only spent a couple of $1,000s on has taken me to places that I grew up wanting to visit. Just last year, I remember saying all my life, like, man, I want to go to New York. I want to go to Times Square. And my camera has taken me there maybe a minimum of about 4 to 5 times just last year on all paid trips. You know what I'm saying? Where I didn't have to pay for a flight or a hotel room or even any food.
Your client covering that.
My client covered that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all the clients who take care of me. I love them all and they love me. So, you know. Definitely.
Wow. And what camera do we have today? I know what you started off with the Sonys. What do we got today?
I still rock with Sony, man.
Okay, so you sticking to the Sony brand.
Yeah, I still stick with
You're
Sony.
Not a Canon guy.
The Canon is like the super popular choice for a lot of creatives, a lot of photographers, and rightfully so. Canon is a great brand. They produce a lot of great work, but I'm the type of person where I like to do a lot of things well, and Sony does a lot of things well. So I like to be with people and brands and just, you know, people who do a lot of things well, and that's kind of like what I related to with the brand of Sony. They film well, they take pictures well, everything they do it pretty well. So I've wanted to stick with them.
So Delvin, where are you taking this photography journey? I know that you're up for a huge award. Tell us about that.
I've been recently nominated for Photographer Journalist of the Year. So I'm definitely excited about that. There's an award ceremony going on in Atlanta. I think it was, I want to say May, if I'm not mistaken. I think May 5th through the 7th, where they're going to be honoring a lot of creatives, photographers, journalists, artists, things like that. So
how did you feel when they reached out to you to tell you about the nomination?
I was overly excited. Sometimes I kind of, I'm a very humble person, so sometimes I kind of like play myself even lower than what I actually am. So even when I get like a lot of these accolades and a lot of invites and a lot of great things happen, I'm still surprised by it. I'm still shocked by it. I still feel the way about it. So when I received an email and I was reading it, and I immediately was like, I was blown away by it. I was pretty excited because I know I'm kind of, you know, on the map a little bit just from being on so many tours and working with so many popular artists, but I didn't know people all around the country were like, yeah, we gotta nominate this guy.
Huge.
He's pretty good. So I felt really good about it. It's a blessing.
Okay. Well, at this point, Delvin, we're going to jump into a little pop culture news. I hear that you're very big on pop culture, right?
Definitely a big fan of pop culture.
You're following what's going on. And most recently, let me ask you this. Are you a Drake fan?
I'm a big Drake fan. I think
you're a big Drake fan?
I don't think there's any bigger Drake fan than me. I'm a big Drake
Why
fan.
your boy keep rescheduling on us in Memphis with this It's All a Blur tour?
Man, well, you know what? Well, first of all, I'm a big Drake fan, but Drake, shout out to Drake, shout out to Chappelle Poppy. You're going to see this one day, you know what I'm saying? You know, but he got to book me for those pictures. He got to make me his personal photographer. Put my bin in right now to be his personal photographer. We're going to get that established, and then I'm going to make sure he shows up in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got to get him here because all the rescheduling is nonsense at this point.
Right, and he has a key to the city, so he's welcome anytime that he wants to come.
Anytime, yeah.
Right, and so most recently, Mos Def, Yazin Bey, he was interviewed on a podcast, and the question came about, is Drake hip-hop, right?
Yeah.
And Mos Def responded and said, basically, hey, he's pop. Like if I go into Target, I can hear a Drake record at any point of the day.
Crazy.
How do you feel about that?
I felt.
Do you agree?
First of all, I don't agree.
You don't agree?
No. I feel like, and this has become a trend lately. I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of the older guys in hip hop or music period, but more so hip hop, they have like a lot of pessimistic views about today's music scene and today's artists and today's hip hop. I don't know why, but I don't see how he relates that to Drake, because Drake is infamous for being able to cross over into so many genres of music, whether that be hip hop, whether it be pop, whether it be R&B, whether it be dancehall, whether it be hell, whatever the case it is, I mean, he's crossed over successfully in more than one genre of music. So when you're able to do that and have success and to be accepted by a wide variety of the public for what you do musically, how can you have any negative views about the man and anything negative to say when it's widely known he's a great artist? And I mean, the statistics show. I mean, he's pretty good at what he does. I mean, he has 100 awards. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I think he's the most accoladed artist out there. So,
he probably is. And you know what? I listened to the entire interview that Mos Def did for that podcast because I wanted to kind of really understand what happened after the sound bites that we heard. And basically, the young lady went into a deeper conversation with Mos Def about Drake. And you know, like you said, Mos is old school hip hop, right? Yeah. And he comes from the standpoint of really standing for something. And I think that Mos Def feels a way with this war that we have with Palestine and that's going on right now in Israel. And he's not taking a stance. You know, like some of us want you to, you know, stand for something.
True.
And if you're not taking a side, then, you know, well, what are you doing? Yeah. So I think it kind of stemmed from some of that as well because he hasn't been outspoken on that war. So, you know, a lot of other artists have not mentioned anything about this horrible war that's going on overseas right now.
Yeah, free Palestine. Shout out to those guys. Free Palestine.
That we are funding in the United States, right?
Insane, man. I
right.
No idea how that's going on, but I mean, like I said, as an older hip hop head, which Yazin Bey Mos Def is, you know, he has his views, he has his opinions, you know, he has a certain perspective where he feels like today's hip hop stars should take a stance and should speak out on certain heavy topics, and you know, should stand up for, you know, the public, whether they be here on American soil or whether they be overseas on what's going on over there in Palestine. So, you know, like I said, that's his personal opinion. That's how he feels. But at the same time, Drake has stood up for so many causes and has helped so many people and has done so many amazing things. I mean, for Christ's sake, he has a whole video where he's practically giving away money to kids to go to college, where he's practically helping underprivileged families. You know what I'm saying? So he's done so many philanthropic types of things. So I would just suggest or think that would be the wrong person to divert that type of energy towards. I mean, maybe a couple other guys, but definitely not Drake.
And you never know what he's doing that we don't know about. You know, because a lot of these celebrities do things they don't want it broadcasted, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I got you, Mr. Drake fan.
Yeah, shout out to Drake, man.
Delvin's a huge Drake fan. Okay, we're gonna jump into a few Spitfire questions, Delvin. So I'm gonna ask you this particular questions, and I need it right off the dome. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. First question: favorite subject to photograph.
Favorite subject to photograph: models.
Models. Okay, why?
They know how to pose. They're pretty creative, and they're fun to work with.
Okay, and that's the thing with me. I don't know how to pose, honey. I'm just
it could be
mush in front of a camera.
Yeah, it could be hard. It could be pretty difficult.
What's the most unusual or unexpected thing you've captured in a photo?
The most usual, most unexpected thing I've captured in a photo. Cavities. Yeah.
Did you have to like do some what do you call it, editing?
Like some heavy
get there right?
some heavy photoshopping, which I'm not too much of a fan of. I love Photoshop; it definitely helps people out, but I like naturalness.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the raw images.
The raw.
Editing, yeah.
Dream location or subject for a photo shoot?
Tokyo, Japan.
Why Tokyo?
Tokyo is the lights, the culture, the food, the people, the fashion. It's just like top of the line for me. Next to New York, which I've been, like I said, about 5 to 6 times, but Tokyo, definitely.
Okay. Best way to make your subjects feel comfortable in front of the camera?
Make them laugh. You have to make people laugh. Put on some great music. Make them feel comfortable. Tell them how well they're doing. People like reassurance, so yeah.
Top 3 photographers you'd love to collaborate with?
That's a pretty hard one right there, but I would say right off the top of my head, I would say Nadia Lee Cohen. She's a very, very famous photographer and creative. She works mainly out of California. I would say JPW Photo. He's a very famous photographer, works with a lot of celebrities. And I would say that's about it. So 2.
Okay. Favorite shot you've ever taken and the story behind it?
This is pretty easy. Favorite shot I've ever taken would be of Future. I took a picture of Future outside of a studio, Midtown Atlanta. Yeah, the story behind it, quick story behind it. I found out that he was going on tour, and I found out that the first show of the tour would be in Atlanta. So me being the determined, highly motivated, highly believing person that I am, I took it upon myself to drive to Atlanta. I said I'm going to take pictures of Future one way or another, and this is the time right now. So I had no idea how I was going to do it. Didn't have any contacts. Didn't know how it's going to happen. So yeah, I talked my girlfriend into driving to Atlanta with me. We rented a car. We drove. A friend of mine called me and told me that he was with members of Future's camp, and he told me where to be and what time to be there, and I was there. Mm-hmm. I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect or what to do, but I took the picture. The picture went viral. On my way back to Memphis, it made its way to Future's phone, and he reposted the pictures, and I've been working with him ever since.
Oh, wow. Like for a person like Future, is there like an approval process before pictures are posted? Like how does that work?
Definitely an approval process. Future is very picky about his content and about his pictures and the way he's photographed and the way he's filmed. So the process would normally be his assistant or his publicist would see the pictures. They would approve of them. They would then send him the photos or whatever the content may be. He would then approve of it. He would talk to me about it, and then we would consistently see them on the internet.
Oh, wow. And I know one of the biggest pet peeves for people who work with photographers is turnaround time.
Turnaround time, yeah.
What does that look like for Mercy?
I'm famous for turnaround time.
Like in like a nice in a good lot of time?
In a good way, yes. I'm famous for a turnaround time.
Okay.
I think when you get into any industry or whatever the case may be, you need to do your research beforehand and understand what would be able to set you apart from others. And I knew immediately that if I was faster than everybody else, and if I was better than everybody else, then that would give me a lot more opportunities than everybody else. That would set me apart. So I immediately tried to figure out a way that I could edit quicker and faster than everybody else, so the stars could be able to post photos in real time, not the next day or 2 days later or a week later, but an hour later at the most. You know what I'm saying? So I would be doing a tour where I would be doing a concert, and by the time Future would be at the hotel, his publicist or his assistant would have those pictures from that same night.
Okay, you're on top of it.
Yeah, so time management is crucial.
Okay. Well, Delvin Young, I have truly enjoyed you here on the Verbally Effective podcast today. Any final words for the Verbally Effective audience that you would like to share?
Of course, definitely. And I've had a pleasurable experience being here too. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been
welcome.
My pleasure. I'm honored. So thank you, and keep doing what you're doing also. And I would say just continue to chase your dreams. That is my message, and will always be my message to everyone that I come into contact with, everyone who sees me, who learns about me, who reads anything about me, would be to chase your dreams nonstop, to do the work. I think that we have this entitlement factor, or we have this notion that the world owes us something, or we think that things are going to fall into our lap. But take it from me, somebody who's had to go through a lot of things. Nothing falls in your lap without hard work and actually doing the work and having faith in yourself and believing in yourself. I had to have faith in myself to even think that I could do anything. So it started off with believing in myself, believing in God, and actually doing the work, like even extra work, just doing the work. And, you know, once you do the work speaks for itself, and, you know, God will bless you and the universe will move out of your way.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Delvin Young, a.k.a. DeShowmercy, for joining me on the Verbally Effective podcast. I've truly enjoyed you. You are indeed verbally effective as well. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in yet again to another episode. And make sure that you hit that subscribe button on all social media platforms at Verbally Effective, at Ina Esco, at Ivy Multimedia. Hit that subscribe button for the Ina Esco YouTube channel as well. And I'll see you all next week.